Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county, Shelbyville, in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, June the 17th, 2018, time 5:08 a.m. First, I thank you to all my fans, my support, for your continued encouragement and support. I'll continue to keep myself employed right here in this Memphis tri-state area. I'll continue to further my education in Monroe College and online, pursuing my associate degree studying business administration, concentrating marketing. At this present time, I have taken a break from going to school. In the very near future, I will be going back to school at Monroe College. I'm going to continue to pursue my associate degree. I'm going to continue to study business administration, concentration marketing, and earn my degree and go on from there. What I'm going to do right now, I'm doing my Instagram. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, city county, Shelbyville, in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, June the 17th, 2018, time 5:10 a.m. First, I thank all my fans, my support, for your continued encouragement and support. Anti-gang. Now these are just a few of the websites you can go to that make free logo designs to make anti-gang logos. I always want to first give thanks to God for all the blessings and guidance that He provides us all with. Now, people always, people be saying things that don't make sense. People say they are gang plus stir, they are mob plus stir. They say they are boss. They say they are goon. They'll say they are goon. They'll say they are thug. people say they are pimp, they are whore. Pimp saying, people say they are Mac, they are player. People say they are that government right tip of my tongue. They are crook, they are hoodlum. They'll say they are they'll say they are all this street slang stuff. It's all it is, street slang. It will be anti-gang demonstration. It will be anti-gang protest. It's wrong, and myself, as well as anybody else who want to stand for human rights, is going to be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. Now, this is the International Bill of Human Rights. Was the name given to the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 217 and two international treaties established by the United Nations. It consists of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted in 1948, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1966, with its two optional protocols, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 1966. This is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. It's an international treaty adopted in 1979 by the United Nations General Assembly. Described as an International Bill of Rights for Women, it was instituted on 3rd September 1981 and has been ratified by 189 states. Now, this is the Declaration of the Rights of the Child, sometimes known as the Geneva Declaration of the Rights of the Child. It is an international document promoting child rights drafted by Eglinton Jebb and adopted by the League of Nations in 1924 and adopted in an extended form by the United Nations in 1959. This day has been adopted as the Universal Children's Day. This is the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. It is a human rights treaty which sets out the civil, political, economic, social, health, and cultural rights of children. The convention defines a child as any human being under the age of 18 unless the age of majority is attained earlier under national legislation. The United Nations General Assembly adopted the convention and opened it for signature on 20 November 1989, the 30th anniversary of its Declaration of the Rights of the Child. Now, this is the world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. This is the International Federation for Human Rights. In 1922, it was founded by some 20 national organizations on the initiative of French and German member organizations. It is the first international human rights organization. Its motto is Peace for Human Rights. This is the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. This here is Fauna and Flora International, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. The world's oldest global environmental organization, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and also the World Wildlife Fund. As I stated earlier, it will be anti-gang demonstration. It will be anti-gang protest. The nonsense will not going to accept that nonsense. People saying they are gang pluster, they are mob pluster. People saying they are boss, they are goon, they are thug, they are pimp, they are whore. People saying they are crook, they are hoodlum, saying they are Mac, they are player. Whatever it is you're saying, it's going to be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. You're not going to go on anybody's job. Nobody has to go to work. The sorority and the fraternity, they ain't nobody. They the same criminals. They belong to the same criminal street gang organization. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. And I didn't forget about Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and as well as other, other organizations that defend, human rights and environmental rights. And as it's been said by the United Nations, environmental rights is a human right. Environmental rights is a human right. Environmental rights is a human right. All those who are watching my Instagram video, I appreciate you watching my YouTube video, my Periscope video, my Facebook Live video as well, and also remember these words. These words are very important. Coercion, coerce. Sexual coercion. Psychological coercion. Psychological manipulation. Psychological abuse. And again, you can go to these websites. These are websites, they make free logo design to make anti-gang logos. I'm doing my Periscope. Hello everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county sheriff in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, June 17th, 2018 time. 5:31 a.m. First, I thank all my fans, my support for your continued encouragement and support. Anti-gang. Anti-gang. Now these are some of the websites you can go to. They're free logo design website to make anti-gang logos. I just did my Instagram video, and there will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. Myself as well as others don't like going to work, don't like being on a job. Don't like hearing nobody saying they're a gang plus stir, they're a mob plus stir. Don't like nobody saying they're a boss, they're a goon, they're a thug. Don't like nobody saying on my job or while I'm at work, even in public or in private, saying they're a pimp, they're a whore, saying they're a crook, they're a hoodlum, saying they're a Mac, they're a player, saying anything derogatory, negative, is violating my human rights. And it's going to be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. I don't care nothing about no sorority, no fraternity. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. This here is the International Bill of Human Rights. Was a name given to the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 217 and two international treaties established by the United Nations. It consists of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted in 1948, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1966, with its two optional protocols, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 1966. The convention, this is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. It's an international treaty adopted in 1979 by the United Nations General Assembly described as an International Bill of Rights for Women. It was instituted on 3rd September 1981 and has been ratified by 189 states. This is the Declaration of the Rights of the Child, sometimes known as the Geneva Declaration of the Rights of the Child. Is an international document promoting child rights, drafted by Eglantine Jebb and adopted by the League of Nations in 1924 and adopted in an extended form by the United Nations in 1959. This date has been adopted as the Universal Children's Day. This is the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. It is a human rights treaty which sets out the civil, political, economic, social, health, and cultural rights of children. The convention defines a child as any human being under the age of 18 unless the age of majority is attained earlier under national legislation. This is the world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. This is the International Federation for Human Rights. In 1922, it was founded by some 20 national organizations on the initiative of French and German member organizations. It is the first international human rights organization. Its motto is Peace for Human Rights. This is the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. This is Fauna and Flora International, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. This is the world's oldest global environmental organization, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and also the World Wildlife Fund. Now, I didn't forget Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, as well as other environmental organizations. I didn't forget. And the United Nations said environmental rights is a human right. Environmental rights is a human right. Environmental rights is a human right. Now, what we're going to do right now, we're going to go to the Bible. Now, you know, when we go to the Bible, the man-made religious organizations, such as, for example, one of the world's oldest man-made religious organizations, the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church. Now, when you say Catholic, you know that's Greek. Give me a sip of water here. Okay. Now, hold on. I'm going to use the laptop here. When I loan the laptop, you know, my desktop is temporarily got to get it worked on, but I temporarily got me a laptop. So we're gonna go to the laptop and we're gonna look up some of these man-made religious organizations. We're gonna start with the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, so we'll go over here to Wikipedia, quick reference. Okay, the Catholic Church, also known as the Roman Catholic Church. Now let me see here. Now it says that the Catholic Church is grouped by rite, R-I-T-E, rite. Okay, you have the Latin rite. Okay. Now, then you had the Alexandria, because you know the Catholic Church had this schism, you know, like a split. Now, but the Eastern, they still, you know, the Eastern part of the Catholic Church is still the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, like we were saying, like we were talking about the rites, you know, R-I-T-E. Okay, you had a Latin rite. Then you had the Alexandrian rite. That's the Coptic and Ethiopian and Eritrean church. Then you had an Armenian rite. Then you had a Byzantine rite. That's the Albanian, Belarusian, Bulgarian, Croatian, and Serbian, Greek, Hungarian, Italo-Albanian, Macedonian, Mikti, Romanian, Russian, Ruthenian, Slavic, and Ukrainian. Then you have your East Syriac rite, Chaldean, Syro, Malabar. Then you have your West Syriac rite, Maronite, Syriac, Syro, Malankara. So that's the Catholic Church. Okay. All right. Now what we're gonna do now? We're gonna look up all this Protestant Reformation. So all we gotta do is really we already know. So let's click over here. And let's click with the scroll over here and click. All right. The Reformation, Protestant Reformation, was a schism in Western Christianity. It was initiated by Martin Luther and continued by Hodrick, Zwingli, John Calvin, and other Protestant reformers in the 16th century. Europe, usually considered to have started with the publication of the 95 Theses by Martin Luther. in 1517 and lasted until the end. Wait a minute, oh man. I messed around and clicked over. Hold up. Let me click back. Oh, there we go. Okay, and 95 Theses by Martin Luther in 1517 and lasted until the end of the 30 Years War in 1648. It led to the division of Western Christianity into different confessions: Catholic, Lutheran, Reformed, Anglican, Anabaptist, and Unitarian, so on and so forth. So let's scroll down here. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, when it comes to Protestantism, okay, that's what we was getting to. When it comes to Protestantism, the major branches of the Protestants: Adventism, like the Seventh-day Adventists, Anabaptism, Anglicanism, Baptist churches, and now the Baptist church got a breakaway church, Church of God in Christ. Calvinism, Lutheranism, Methodism, and Pentecostalism. Now them the major branches. The minor branches: Gnosticism, Waldensianism, Plymouth Brethren, the Holiness Movement, Quakerism, and multiple others. So let me see our interdenomination right now. Now you had an interdenominational movement, evangelicalism, charismatic movement, and neo-charismatic movement. Now, then you have your other developments. Armenianism, Pietism, Puritanism, Neo-Orthodoxy, Paleo-Orthodoxy, Christian fundamentalism, and modernism and liberalism. So that's pretty much all the Protestant Reformation, the major branches, minor branches, and then you have your interdenominational movements, and then you have other developments. Now let's go over here to the American Restoration Movement. Now, we over here at the Restoration Movement, also known as the American Restoration Movement or the Stone Campbell Movement. Pejorative as Campbellism is a Christian movement that began on the United States frontier during the Second Great Awakening, 1790-1840, of the early 19th century. The pioneers of this movement were seeking to reform the church from within and sought the unification of all Christians in a single body, patterned after the Church of the New Testament, especially since the mid-20th century. Members of these churches do not identify as Protestant, but simply as Christians. Now it said the Restoration Movement developed from several independent strands of religious revival that idealized early Christianity. Two groups which independently developed similar approaches to the Christian faith were particularly important. The first, led by Barton W. Stone, began at Cane Ridge, Kentucky, and identified as Christians. The second began in western Pennsylvania and Virginia. Now Western Virginia was led by Thomas Campbell and his son Alexander Campbell, both educated in Scotland. They eventually used the name Disciples of Christ. Both groups sought to restore the whole Christian church on the pattern set forth in the New Testament. and both believed that creeds kept Christianity divided. In 1832, they joined in fellowship with a handshake. Now, okay, let me read this. Among other things, they were united in the belief that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, that Christians should celebrate the Lord's Supper on the first day of each week, and that baptism of adult believers by immersion in water is a necessary condition for salvation, because the founders wanted to abandon all denominational labels. They used the biblical names for the followers of Jesus. Both groups promoted a return to the purposes of the first century churches, as described in the New Testament. One historian of the movement has argued that it was primarily a unity movement, with the restoration motive playing a subordinate role. The restoration movement has since divided into multiple separate groups. There are three main branches in the U.S.: the Churches of Christ, the unaffiliated Christian Church, Church of Christ Congregation, and the Christian Church, Disciples of Christ. Some characterize the division in the movement as a result of tensions between the goals of restoration and ecumenism. The Churches of Christ and unaffiliated Christian Church, Church of Christ Congregation, resolve the tension by stress and restoration, while the Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, resolve the tension by stress ecumenism. A number of groups outside the U.S. also have a historical associated within this movement, such as the Evangelical Christian Church in Canada and the Churches of Christ in Australia. Now, let me scroll down. So, like I said, when you talk about the Church of Christ, it's the American Restoration Movement. Now, and as we just read, the Churches of Christ split. You know, they had the disciples of, what they call them, disciples of the church, and something, whatever they call it, the Churches of Christ. Then they had the churches of Christ, something, and then the disciples of Christ. But all these man-made religious organizations, including the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, the Black Hebrew Israelites, and the Rastafarians. Now, the Federal Bureau of the United States government, the Justice Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they have a file. You can read the file, get information on all these man-made religions, on them groups. And even if you had to dig a little deeper, other countries also have information on these groups. Get as much information on these groups as you can, because there are people walking around with the intent of misleading people. And then, when you get information on these, you have former members and people who are involved in the just like this Fard Muhammad person. They got criminal records on this person. He was in jail. People who were in jail with this person, this Fard Muhammad. Who the prison guards were, who was the warden. And see, all this information is important, because people talk to other people. And then you have people who are possibly members of some type of criminal organization that people didn't know about. Just like this Fard Muhammad, it's a lot of information people didn't have on this man when he was walking around. And then he started going around African Americans. A lot of African Americans didn't have no education anyway. See, that's a big problem. A lot of African Americans during that period of time were uneducated, illiterate. You understand? Miseducated. Whatever you unlearn. And then you had this man coming around, you talking about reading about. A lot of people didn't know how to read. Or reading the Quran, a lot of people didn't know how to read. Including a lot of European Americans as well. So get as much information on these groups as you can. Now, these man-made religious organizations, they depend on Romans chapter 16, verse 16. Salute one another with the holy kiss, the church, with the suffix es of Christ. Salute you. Okay. Now, 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 4, so that we ourselves glory in you in the church with the suffix es of God for your patience and faith in all your persecution and tribulation that ye endure. Now I'm going to read Acts chapter 1. The former treason have I made, O Theophilus, of all that Jesus began both to do and teach, until the day in which he was taken up. After that he through the Holy Ghost had given commandments unto the apostles, whom he had chosen. Jesus Christ chose his apostles, to whom also he shewed himself alive after his passion, by many infallible proofs being seen of them 40 days. 40 days. And speaking other things pertaining to the kingdom of God. And being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which saith he, Ye have heard of me. For John truly baptized with water, but ye shall be baptized with the Holy Ghost not many days hence. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? And he said unto them, It is not for you to know the times or the season which the Father hath put in his own power. But ye shall receive power after that the Holy Ghost is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria, and unto the uttermost part of the earth. And when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and the cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem a 7 days' journey. And when they were come in, they went up into an upper room whereby both Peter and James and John and Andrew, Philip and Thomas, Bartholomew and Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus and Simon Zelotes, and Judas the brother of James. These all continued with one accord in prayer and supplication with the women, and Mary the mother of Jesus, and with his brethren. And in those days Peter stood up in the midst of the disciples and said, The number of names together were about 120 men and brethren. This scripture must needs have been fulfilled, which the Holy Ghost by the mouth of David spake before concerning Judas, which was guided to them that took Jesus. For it was known with us, and had obtained part of this ministry. Now this man purchased a field with the reward of iniquity, and falling headlong, he burst asunder in the midst, and all his bowels gushed out. And it was known unto all the dwellers at Jerusalem, insomuch as that field is called in their proper tongue a settlement, that is to say, the field of blood. For it is written in the book of Psalms, Let his habitation be desolate, and let no man dwell therein, and his bishopric let another take. Wherefore are these men which have come up with us all the time that the Lord Jesus went in and out among us, beginning from the baptism of John until that same day that he was taken up from us, must one be ordained to be a witness with us of his resurrection. And they appointed two, Joseph, called Barsabas, who was surnamed Justus, and Matthias. And they prayed and said, Thou Lord, which knowest the hearts of all men, shew whether these two thou hast chosen, that he may take part of this ministry and apostleship, from which Judas by transgression fell, that he might go to his own place. And they gave forth their lots, and the lot fell upon Matthias. And he was numbered with the 11 apostles. The apostles were chosen by Jesus. You can't call yourself no apostle. Can't no person give themselves that type of a title. Jesus Christ chose his apostles. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle, he lied. Now we know in Acts chapter 9, Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul, was converted. Now, when we turn over to Acts chapter 22, Paul tells of his conversion. He lied. Paul lied. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle, he lied about his conversion. Acts chapter 22, verse number 9. And they that were with me saw indeed the light and were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spake to me. He lied. Acts chapter 26. Paul recounts his conversion. Verses 13, 14. Acts chapter 26, verses 13, 14, and 15. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, he lied again about his conversion. Now, there are 3 places in the Bible that talks about being a Christian. You see the word Christian in the Bible. The first place is Acts chapter 11. Verse 26. The second place in the Bible that you see the word Christian is Acts chapter 26, verse 28. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. The third place in the Bible, go to 1 Peter. First Peter chapter 4, verse 16. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. The Apostle Peter did not tell anybody to say they was a Christian. The Apostle Peter was telling you, first of all, I'm the Apostle Peter. This is my epistle you read. I'm the Apostle Peter, first of all. This is the Apostle Peter writing in this epistle and telling you that I am aware that there are people lying. And this is what you do about people saying they are Christian. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed. The Apostle Peter had to tell you not to be ashamed, because I'm the Apostle Peter and I'm bringing you the truth. Before I brought you the truth, you were being lied to, and you were going around lying. And now that you think about it, and now that you know, you remember, now you want to be, it make you ashamed. Because now you don't want to do it no more. You don't want to suffer as a Christian. But you remember. And when you remember, it make you ashamed. It make you ashamed because you remember. You're thinking about all the things you've been saying, all the things you have done as a Christian. And it make you ashamed. But it was the Apostle Peter that said, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. See, it was the Apostle Peter that brought you the truth. So now you remember, and it takes the Apostle Peter to take that shamefulness away. Not nothing to be proud of, nothing to brag about. But this man was taught by Jesus Christ. He is the apostle. He is the Apostle Peter. And with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that this man has, being taught by Jesus Christ, he said, let him not be ashamed, but glorify God on his back. The reason why you glorifying God is because a man that was taught by Jesus Christ is bringing you the truth. You've been lied to, and you going around lying. That's the reason why. Now let's turn over here to 2 Peter. Chapter 3. 2 Peter chapter 3. The Apostle Peter exposes Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 15, 16, 17, and 18. He exposes the Apostle Peter exposes Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, for lying. He's saying things in these epistles. First of all, he claiming he's an apostle, and he not. He lying. He not no apostle. The apostle is the one who wrote this epistle in Second Peter. That's an apostle. That's who the apostle is. The Apostle Peter. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle, not no apostle. He lying. And that's the reason why the Apostle Peter exposes him. Don't read those epistles. That's what the Apostle Peter telling you, to be aware, to beware of false teachers. And that's what he was, a false teacher. Don't read those epistles that Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, wrote. They all lies. First of all, he going around claiming he's an apostle. He lying. He lying. Now we know in the book of Acts, chapter 15, we know about the meeting. And we know how it all started in verse number 1. Acts chapter 15, verse number 1. And some men came down from Judea and about circumcision and all this. Now, verse number 2, Acts chapter 15, verse number 2. That's the start of the end of all that stuff talking about being a Christian. This is the end of all that Christian mess. The book of Acts, chapter 15, verse 22. There's no such thing as being a Christian. This is the end of it. Chapter 15, verse 22. The book of Acts, chapter 15, verse 22. It's the end of it. Now we continue to talk about African traditional religion. African traditional religion is being taught at colleges and universities in sub-Saharan Africa. You can earn a bachelor's degree, PhD studying African traditional religion. Now, one of the books we're going to continue to read and refer to is titled West African Traditional Religion, written by Dr. Joseph Obasai with Dr. P. Adalumo the Penguin. Now, another book we're going to continue to read refers to a title African Traditional Religion, definition written by Dr. E. Baloja Adowu. Another book we're going to continue to read and refer to a title African Religions and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S. M. Beatty. Another book we're going to continue to read and refer to a title Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S. M. Beatty. Now, examples of some schools that teach African traditional religion. Dr. Joseph Omasede Bulelu, PhD, Aberdeen. Senior Lecturer, African Traditional Religion, Department of Religious Studies, University of Aberdeen, Aberdeen, Nigeria. Dr. P. Adalumo the Penguin, PhD, Aberdeen. Department of Religious Studies, University of Ilorin, Nigeria. Dr. E. Baloja Adowu, Professor of Religious Studies, University of Aberdeen, Nigeria. Dr. John S. M. Beatty was born in Kenya and studied at Makerere University College in Uganda. Now, gonna get ready to go to the dictionary, but gonna continue to speak out, gonna continue to complain about people saying they're a gang plus stir, a mob plus stir. People saying they're a boss, they're a goon, they're a thug, they're a crook, they're a hoodlum. People saying they're a pimp, they're a whore. People saying they're a Mac, they're a player. You know, people saying all these street slang. When I be on my job, when I be at work, whether it be in private or in public, I don't care nothing about nobody saying they belong to a sorority or fraternity. Don't mean anything. I'm gonna continue to complain. I'm going to continue to speak out. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. You know, we continue to talk about the African, the East African and West African slave trade. Human beings were taken from sub-Saharan Africa, brought to the United States of America, to the East Coast. And also, there were other slave ports, such as the state of Mississippi was a slave port. New Orleans, Louisiana was a slave port. Galveston, Texas was a slave port. Veracruz, Mexico was a slave port. And the East Coast here in the United States of America is being used as a slave base. Excuse me, as a gang base. You understand? As a base for people going up and down the East Coast. And it's a gang base being used. Then you have people from the East Coast. They'll go to other places like Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, California. And this so-called gang stuff gonna continue to complain, gonna continue to speak out. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. And gonna continue to stand up for my human rights and not sit idly by as if it's something that these people know and I don't know. So I'm just gonna sit idly by and not complain and speak out. Oh, I'm gonna complain and I'm gonna speak out. And it will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. Now, we know that the criminals, such as, there's a lot of celebrity athletes, celebrity entertainers from here in America, around the world. People leave the United States of America, then they go to other countries, other nations. There are people living, here in the United States, there are tourism, business, foreign service, the United States military. People leave the United States of America. And they be a part of this gang stuff. And trying to go to other countries and other nations. And people coming, and then you have people that come from other countries, come to this country. Come just like people crossing the border from Mexico come to America. People, now they got the refugees coming from other countries seeking asylum because, war-torn countries, people coming to America. So all this stuff about gangs and criminal organizations and things of this nature is a very serious problem. Gonna continue to speak out, gonna continue to complain. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. Like I said, when I go on my job, when I go to work, people say all that gang plus stir, mob plus stir is wrong. And I'm gonna protest and I'm gonna demonstrate. I'm gonna stand for my human rights. Now, we know that there are the criminals. They they call themselves gonna get a gun. They call themselves gonna get some weapons. They'll get a knife. They'll get a stick. They'll pick up a rock. They'll study martial arts. They'll take a self-defense class. A lot of these women, very aggressive, very violent. a lot of women, they criminals. But that's what they've been taught, to be criminals. Now, anti-gang. Now we know that the German government said to the United States government, anti-gang. That's who said it. Was the German government said to the United States government, anti-gang. Now the United States government passed a law, the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, and Title IX of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970. The Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, the RICO Act. Now, also, the United States government passed the Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act of 1997, the Controlled Substance Act, the Psychotropic Substances Act, the Continuing Criminal Enterprise Statute, the Kingpin Statute. It's all anti-gang. Now, the United States government passed also the Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention Act of 1974, established the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, as well as other related legislation. It's anti-gang. The Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention, and the Comprehensive Gang Model, Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention. The Bureau of Justice Assistance, the Office of Justice Program, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, the United States Department of Justice Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, and Project Safe Neighborhoods. The United States Department of Justice Office of Community-Oriented Policing Service, the Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention, the United States Department of Justice Office of Justice Program, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, the International Narcotics Law Enforcement Affairs, the United States Department of State, the Institute for Intergovernmental Affairs, Gang Resistance Education and Training, the GREAT Program. The United States Department of Justice Office of Justice Program, the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention. In October 2009, the National Youth Gang Center, which had been funded by the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention since 1995, merged with the National Gang Center, which had been funded by the Bureau of Justice since 2003. The National Gang Center compilation of state laws against gangs, gang prevention, and overview of research program. Mr. James C. Howell, the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention. The United States Department of Justice, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention, National Gang Center Bulletin, and the title of that bulletin History of street gangs in the United States. Read the books in the bulletin. And also, you can go to Wikipedia and find the same information. Gangs in the United States. The United States Department of Justice, Office of the United States Attorney Manual 1457, Criminal Street Gang Statute 18, United States Code 521. The United States Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, National Gang Intelligence Center. The United States Department of Justice, Organized Crime and Gang Section, and there are other federal, state, and local agencies. The United States Department of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, Anti-Gang Strategies, Prevention, Intervention, Assessment, and Suppression. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice. The United States Department of Health and Human Services, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, National Center for Prevention and Control, Changing Course, Preventing Gang Membership, and also striving to reduce youth violence everywhere. The United States Department of Justice, the United States Department of Education, the United States Department of Health and Human Services, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, the United States Department of Labor, and the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention, Forum. You can go to youth.gov and you can be informed about the National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention, as well as the Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative and the Comprehensive Gang Model. The United States Department of Justice, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, National Crime Prevention Council, Keeping Kids Out of Gangs, and also anti-hazing. You can go to lawyers.com and be informed about anti-hazing. So, like I said, I'm gonna continue to complain. I'm gonna continue to speak out. You know, and it will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. It don't make no difference if I got to be the only person. If I got to be the only person by myself, demonstrate. If I got to be the only person by myself protest, so be it. I'm going to stand for my human rights. I'm going to continue to complain. I'm going to continue to speak out. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. I don't care nothing about no sorority. I don't care nothing about no fraternity. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. I'm going to go to the dictionary. People saying they're gang plus stir, mob plus stir. People saying they're a goon, they're a boss, they're a goon, they're a thug, they're a pimp, they're a whore. People saying they're a Mac, they're a player. Whatever it is, they're a crook, they're a hoodlum. It's all street slang. People all over the world speak language, use communication. So street slang, you know, it's slang terms, you know. So we're going to get ready to go to the dictionary. the prefixes, suffixes, root words, they are in Webster's Third New International Dictionary and Oxford English Dictionary. Now, dictionary over there. Hold on. I have to get the dictionary. Hold on. This reason why sometimes you just can't remember everything. You just can't remember everything. I feel. Now, the complete and total definition. Now, this is Webster's Third New International Dictionary. The complete and total definition and meaning of the word game. The act, manner, or means of going. This is mobile. This is mob. Now, the stupid sorority, the stupid fraternity, this is sister. Now this is brother. Now, the complete now this is Oxford English Dictionary. The complete and total definition meaning of the word gain. Action or mode of going, way, passage. A set of things or persons. This is mobile and mob. The stupid sorority, the stupid fraternity. Remember these words: coercion, coerce, sexual coercion, psychological coercion, psychological manipulation, psychological abuse. Again, these are those just a few of the websites you can go to. They make free logo designs, anti-gang logos. Now, the United Nations said to every human being on this earth, environmental rights is a human right. Environmental rights is a human right. Environmental rights is a human right. I'm going to stand for my human rights. I'm telling the sorority, I'm telling the fraternity, I'm telling everybody. I'm going to stand for my human rights. I'm going to stand for my human rights. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. When I be on my job, when I go to work, I'm not going to sit idle by and nobody going to say to me, they are gang plus stir, they are mob plus stir, they are boss, they are goon, they are thug, they are pimp, they are whore, they are crook, they are hoodlum, they are Mac, they are player. I don't care what you say. I don't care nothing about no street slang. I'ma stand for my human rights. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. Again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county Shelbyville, in the state of Tennessee. I thank all my fans, my support, for your continued encouragement and support. Always put God first. Always put God first. And while we talk about human rights, let's not forget all those persons who have been put in jail, in prison, for human rights. For human rights. Now, take care of yourself. And wish each and every one of you very best.